Thanks for confirming. Whenever you face issues, right, you tell me. Okay, now I wanted to tell me one class in Java or any one scenario. You are using your softwares every day, right? You're filling forms and you are doing a lot of activity in internet. Can you give me one example which I want to show you in real time? How POJOs are written in backend or how POJOs are written in software companies. I want to tell you that. Can you give me one example? Day to day, you are using some application. Can you quote that any application day to day that you are using? Apart from your social media applications, any other applications that you are using every day in web browser or any of your laptops or computers or whichever, you will be using some class, right? Some program or some software you will be using. Can you remember and tell me any software that you are using day in, day out? Hello? I want examples from you. Any example?
Eclipse, sir.
You are using Eclipse. Okay. Apart from that, like you want to give some input, you are doing some interaction with the application. Yeah, you're using Eclipse. Apart from that, like what I mean is for a business perspective, you are buying something or you are using it like day in day out for some activities. So some kind of application like that.
For online applications
Yeah, can you tell me what online application you're
like
using?
shopping or any other.
Okay, maybe you can take it as Amazon, Flipkart, or any other applications that you have, like Mintra and
Yes.
all, right?
Yes, sir. Misho.
Yeah, Meesho, whatever. Okay, so I'll take an example of Meesho only. Okay, so I'll just take that class as message double O. I think it's correct, or I don't know. So I am making that class Meesho as public. You can see here, right? I have written public class Meesho. So what does this mean? I'm making this class as public, means everybody can access this class. That is the meaning. So in the internet, everybody can go and access Meesho, right? Only you can access or anybody can access. Anybody can access it, correct? In Meesho, what is the first thing that you do is you go and create an account, correct? So whenever you are creating an account, it will ask for sign up or sign up using your Gmail, correct? No, so that is what you do every time. So what are the fields which are present in the account or in your profile part of it? If you see, generally it will be your username. One is username. This will be common, right? In every application, it will be common, and you will have something called as string email ID, right? And the main important thing is phone number, right? You can take it as string only, string phone number, because you will get an OTP, and based on the OTP authentication, you will be logged into Meesho, correct? No, so these are like, maybe there is something called as password also. So string, take password, correct? No. So these are the fields that generally will be present when you are signing up. After you sign up, you have username and password. If you enter username and password, it will log into Meesho, or you can log in via Facebook or log in via Google or whatever, right? So what they will do, they will also do the same thing, correct? No, they will just authenticate you as part of a user. Okay. So now what is the basic that you should understand is Meesho is one application where who can use it? Millions of users can use at a time, correct? No, do you agree with me? Meesho application, how many of them can use at a time? Millions of them can use at a time, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So now tell me, do your friend who's there next to you, he is also in Meesho, can he see your phone number, password and email ID in Meesho application? Can he go and see your details?
No, sir.
No, right? So that is what the difference that you should bring in. So every Pojo, right? If I say plain old Java object, all the members in that particular class, all the members of a class should be private in nature, private. private in nature. Okay. So why I am making them private? Private in nature. So why it is private? Because it is only accessible to that person, not for anybody else. When you log in, your name will be visible. Your phone number will be visible to you. You can update your phone number. You can update your name. You can do anything. It is only visible for you, not for others, right? Not for any person in the Meesho application. So that's what this private brings a magic here. So the moment you make these members as private, right? Say name, email ID, phone number, and password, you made them as private. The moment you make them private, nobody can access it. Nobody can access it. Only that person who has an authority for this class can only have permission to this access these variables. Okay. And one important thing here is when you are having these things, you cannot go and declare this values here only. Username, you cannot declare it here only. You cannot go and write, okay, my username is Girish. I cannot write it like this. I cannot write it like this because this is a software you are developing, and this should be available for everybody, not only Girish, right? Your application Meesho is not only specific to Girish or Mahesh or anybody. It is specific for everybody, right? Everybody should be able to access it, correct? So now for all these private members to access them or to use them, right? There is some specialized methods called as setters and getters method. Okay, so there is a concept called as encapsulation in Java. Have you heard about encapsulation anytime? Just like that, you heard about encapsulation? Anybody? Okay, if you have not heard, so just note down what is encapsulation. So encapsulation is nothing but bonding all the members to that particular class. Okay, binding all the members of a class to that particular class by making them private and writing setters and getters methods for those fields. Okay, what is
Set,
encapsulation?
system dot get text ఇంకోటేమో set text నాకు వచ్చింది.
Okay, somebody is not in mute. Please be in mute. Okay, what is encapsulation? Encapsulation is a object orientation principle in which you make all the members of a class. What are members of a class here? Username is a member, email is a member, phone number is a member, password is a member. These are all string variables. So I am making all these variables as private, and I will write setters and getters methods for all these fields. Okay, if I write setters and getters methods for all these fields, then this class Meesho will act as a POJO. What is POJO? POJO is nothing but plain old Java object. Okay. So if you say POJO, it is nothing but it is an encapsulated class. Encapsulated class means anybody want to use this Meesho class, they can call setters methods. And if they want some data out of setters method, they can call getter method. Okay. So using this setters and getters, you can access this class. You can access this class. So this is called as encapsulation. Okay. What is the first topic that you are learning today? You have a class, you make all the members of a class as private. So what is the advantage of making all the members as private? Anybody who is there in Meesho application, they cannot access the other person's details. Say, for example, Girish is there. I cannot access the other person who is there in Meesho. He may have some other username. He may have other email. He may have other passwords. He may have other phone number. But for me, it will not be visible. Okay. So what I can go, I can do something like this. I can create public setter method and getter method. So how I can do public? So I can write public string. Yes, capital S should be capital public string. I'll write get get user name, user name, get username, and this will return this dot user name. Okay, so I'm doing like this. Okay, so this is one getter method. What is this getter method? If somebody calls get username, so whatever username is present actually here will be returned. This value will be returned for him. But as of now, it is nothing. There is no value in this, right? So if you want to have value to this, you should not write directly here. You cannot set it directly here. So you should write something called as setter method. So to do that, you write public void, you write set user name, set user name. Okay. So what I'm doing, I am setting the username. What I am setting the username as this dot username is equal to some name. I don't know what is that name. I should take from the user. I should take from the user string name. Okay. User will send me some name, and that name I will set it to this username. Okay, so this is how my pojos look. Okay, this is how my pojos look. So what I did, I declared every field as private. Now only for username I wrote setters and getters method, setters and getters method. But this is very irritating, right? For every field I cannot go and write setters method, getter method, setter method, getter method. It is very irritating. So for that, Eclipse has given you one option. Okay, all of you please carefully see this. There is an option. You can go to this source. Okay, and here you have generate getters and setters method. In source, you have generate getters and setters method. If you click on that, it will open for all the fields which are private. It will show, hey, do you want to create getters and setters method? You can choose here. So I already created for username. I will create it for phone number, password, and email ID. For these three fields, I will create, because for username, I already created manually. Now I'll go and click on generate. The moment I click on generate, all of them will be created automatically for me. Can you see this? Yes or no? You're able to understand this? Did you understand this much? How to create getters and setters? Did you understand? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. So it's very simple, right? And one more thing is missing. One more thing is missing. You need constructor. Okay. You need constructor. So what is a constructor? Is constructor. I'll write it here. So what is constructor? What is constructor? What is constructor? So constructor is a block. Okay, constructor is a block. It is used to initialize. It is used to initialize this variables that you have. You have username, you have email ID, you have phone number, you have password, right? So to initialize these values, we use a block called as constructor. So constructor will be same name as class name. How constructor will look like? It will look like same name as class name. Say for example, I'll write public Misho. Misho. What is Misho? It is now same name as your class name. But how to write a constructor is just write a method call, method call, right? That small brackets and write a flower bracket. So this is now your constructor. This is called as default constructor. Already this constructor will be there. If you write it, if you don't write it, this will already be there. Okay. So now, if you don't want to write all these setters and getters, right? You don't like to write all the setters and getters, don't write it. You can directly write one constructor. That is enough. The constructor with arguments. Okay. You can say username is one argument, right? So you can go here and have string username, comma. You have string email, right? You have string phone number, and you have string password. Okay, password. So this is what? This is a constructor. What is this? This is a constructor. What is the name of the constructor? It is Misho. Okay, what does it do? It is used to initialize the values. How does it initialize? Whatever value you are getting here, right? This value, you make it as this local variables value. Okay, to do that, we use a keyword called as this dot. This means current class object, but that is Misho object. In Misho, you have something called as username. You set this username, whatever is there, with the username that you're getting. That is nothing but this username. Okay, username. Okay, this is the first value that is set. Second value, you can just go this dot email is equal to email. Same like that, you can do this dot phone number is equal to phone number. Phone number that you're getting here, this phone. Okay. Then you do this dot password is equal to password. Done, dusted. Over. Your Pojo is ready. What is Pojo? Pojo is nothing but plain old Java object. All the members present in the class is private. All the members present in the class is private. Okay. And you can go and set and get the values, or you can write a constructor to initialize these values. Okay. Okay. Misho is there. Misho is there. Now, individually, people will go and access Misho, right? Say, for example, I am using Misho. I will log into my account and use it. If you are using, somebody else is using Misho, they will go log into their account and use Misho. Correct? Okay. Now what I will do, I want to use this Misho class. So what I have to do now is I have to create a main method. Correct? Or another class called as main. Okay. You have a main class. People in the call. Okay. Please don't talk. If you are talking, you are not in mute. That also you remember. Okay. It's not about joke. I trust me. So these concepts, right, will easily bring you job. Okay. Now currently there is a recession which is hitting the market. If you know or if you don't know, I am telling you because I am there in the industry from past 4 5 years. From 4 years, there was a huge demand for software engineers. Okay, anybody who was getting passed out was getting job, but from this year onwards, there is a recession which is hitting. Okay, so it is very difficult to get jobs. So if you have knowledge, no, initially in the campus placements or in this InfyTQ exams, if you clear right, you will get a job easily. Otherwise, it is difficult for you to get jobs currently. So please pay attention. Later, you can have fun. Okay, not a problem. While you're listening to class, please listen carefully. So I have a main method which I'm writing. Okay, what does main method do? In main method, the program execution will start. Okay, now you have to create object of Misho. Okay, say I'm using Misho, so I will use Misho Girish. So Girish is nothing but a variable. That's it. Now it's Girish account, so I'm using Misho Girish is equal to new Misho off. See here, I can see there is a constructor which is asking me to enter username, email ID, phone number, and there is I can also choose to write a constructor which doesn't have all this. So I can choose any one of
Sir,
this. Okay. Yeah,
sir, screen is not visible, sir.
screen is not visible. 1 second. Please tell me if the screen is not visible so that I can reshare the screen. Now is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I am doing Misho Girish is equal to new. The moment I do new, I should call a constructor. Okay, I should call a constructor. Which constructor I should call? Already I wrote one constructor. I can call that, or I can call getters and setters methods which were present. Okay, so I will just create Misho without any arguments. Okay, so I will choose to create Misho without any arguments. So I'll just remove all these arguments. See, I'm calling a constructor. Okay, but there it is giving me error that, hey, you are calling Misho constructor, but this constructor doesn't have, or that class doesn't have a constructor by name Misho. Means the default constructor is not there. Okay, so what you can do, you can create that default constructor. Okay, see, Misho is the constructor which doesn't have anything. Okay, fine, I have created that. Now if you try to access the variables which are present, right? 1 minute, I'll just save this so that it will start working. So now if you call the objects present there, right? So I will just show you. I will just do system.out.println of Girish dot username. Okay, so I can see if I just type username, it will give me one error saying that, hey, username is not visible. Username is not visible. Why it is not visible? Because it is private in nature. It is only accessible inside that class. Outside the class, it is not at all accessible. It is not visible to outside world. Means like, now what I should do? How do I get that visibility? Is you can call getter method. There is a method called as get username, right? You wrote that setters and getters, right? So you can go and call that method called as get username. Okay, so just check it out. Get username I'll call. But tell me, what is the get username will return? It will return null, because there is no value that you have set for the username, right? If you're trying to print the value, it will give null because nothing is there. I did not do anything for it. So when you're creating an object, you can create like this. First, what you should do, you should call setter methods. You should set the values, and later you can get those values. Initially, when you are signing up, what you are doing is you are setting the values, means you are calling setter methods. You are calling setter methods so that all the values of your account will be set. Later, when you are logging in, your object will be created like this. Misho Girish is equal to new Misho of. Means when you are logging in, your object will be created. When somebody else is logging in, their object will be created. So their details is only specific to themselves, not for the outside world. Because others don't know what is your username and your password, right? So others will not have access to any of your data. Okay. So here, this is how Java gives you protection or one layer of security by using encapsulation. Okay. Now what you can do, I can do Girish. I will only set it. Girish dot set name. Girish dot set name. I will call set name method. And here I will set the name for myself. What the name should be. So maybe I can choose it as Girish G or something. Okay. So this is my username. Once I set this username, then I'm getting it. Now I will get this value as Girish G. You can see now if I run this, now I'm getting it as Girish. So you can set it and get it. That's why we use setters and getter method. Now for you, I don't want to use setters and getters. I don't want to use setters and getters. I am bored of this. Okay. Then you can call a constructor which is having parameters. Like for example, here I have parameters like Girish. So I'll just choose Giri. Okay. There you have second. What is the second thing? In Misho constructor, you are having different fields, right? See, one is username, email ID, phone number, and password. Okay, you can give that here. Okay, you can give those values here. So I'll use email as giri at gmail.com. Gmail.com. Okay, so I'll just use the double quote because it's string value. And apart from that, I have phone number. Phone number is some value. Okay, and what is that? The other thing is password. So you can give your own password. That's your wish. So I'll give ABC123. Okay, I'll give ABC123. Okay, that's it. So this is my username, this is my password, and this is my email ID. So I've just given these details while creating the constructor. Okay. Now I can call this Girish dot, right? Dot get username. I'll just print it out so that you will be able to see. So I will use Girish dot get username. So I'm able to get the username. I'm able to get the password, whichever you like. You can get it here. That's not a problem. You can just type in so that you will able to get Girish dot password. Okay, get password method. So now if I run this, I will be able to get. See, I'm setting this in the constructor, so I will be able to get those values. So if you run it, this is possible. Giri is the username and password is ABC123. Whatever you have set here, those values will be passed. Are you able to understand what is the difference between going for setters and getters and having a constructor invocation done? So what is this constructor invocation? Whenever you create a constructor, you're calling you're calling a parameterized constructor. So what is constructor? Constructor is a block, right? Constructor is one block in which all the variables of a class will be initialized. All the variables of a class will be initialized. Okay, so consider. So now you can do two ways, right? So if you don't want to use encapsulation, it's again choice. Okay, you can ignore this encapsulation, this writing setters and getters method, you can avoid. Okay. Okay, now you can see now there is one. Okay, I removed all this. Okay, wait, I'll remove only setters and getter methods. So you can remove this. Now you can see, okay, so these are the values that you have, right? The username, password, these are the fields or the members of a class. So these members can be initialized by using a constructor, right? It can be initialized by constructor, but how do you print these values? There is no way to print. Okay, see here only it is suggesting, there is a warning. If you go and see, it says value of Misho username is not used anywhere, means you are not using it anywhere. That is the meaning. So here it says this get name is not present. So you want to create this get name, it is asking. So you can go and create only getter methods also. You can go to source, and here you have generate setters and getters. So should go to this class, Misho class, and go to source, generate getters and setters. Here you can choose whether you want to select, you want both getters or setters, which you want, which you want, and all that. Okay. So I will just choose all these elements. I want only getter methods. Okay, only getter methods. So I'll just use getters methods for all this. I'll select all, select getters and generate. Now you can see only getter methods are generated. Why only getter methods are generated? Because after you set these values, no, in the main method you are supposed to get it, right? So that's why I have written only getter methods. Change to get user name. Done. Okay, so now whenever you are calling get username, you will get this username and this password. Okay, so you can either use this constructor in which you are passing all these values like username, password, email ID, and phone number. These values will be set in the constructor. So in the constructor, if you see, this is the constructor, parameterized constructor. You can initialize these values. So you are getting Giri here. You are initializing this to be a local class member. What is the local class member? This value, username. Okay. Did you get an idea how you are doing this? Did you understand what is a class? What is Pojo? Did you understand what is Pojo? Pojo is a class in which you have all your variables like username, password, email ID, everything is written and they should be made as private. This is a rule. Okay, if you are writing any Pojo anywhere, you have to make it as private. Somebody can come and ask me, why should it be private? Can it not be public or protected or anything? It can be public also. Can be public also. There is no rule that you should not make it public. You can also make it public, but if you make it public, it will be visible for others. Other classes can call or use this variable. It is available for others. You can make it protected, which is again only accessible for child of that package. Okay, those people can use it. Okay, so that is also possible. Okay, but the best practice is to make it as Pojo. Why I am telling you this? If you go to any GitHub repositories, right? Because I want to show you with some proof, okay, so that you will understand what I'm trying to tell. It's not about understanding a concept, understanding how it is used in the reality. So that is very important. Just give me a moment. I'll reshare the screen. Give me a moment. Just see if it is visible for all of you. Whether it is visible for all of you. Guys, you are able to see this or not? Respond yes or no at least. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You just go to any Java project in GitHub, okay? And like any Java project in random, if you are visiting, I just want to show you how this Pojo is implemented. Okay, go to SRC folder. Now you can see online booking store. Okay, there is some project called as online booking store. In this, you go to SRC or main and see Java. Okay, this is the folder structure that everybody will follow. Okay, so there is something called as servlets. Okay. So everything is servlet in this. So I don't want to go to servlet project. I want to get a normal project. Hotel management project. ATM machine, store POS. Okay, so generally you can see this, right? Account.java and ATM.java, right? So if you see here, this is ATM.java is where you are calling the main method, but you have one more class called as account.java. So can you see here? Can everybody see this account.java? So here you have account number, PIN number, uh, checking balance and checking saving balance. So all this are private in nature. Can you observe this? Yes or no? Hello? You're able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So all the members are private in nature. What is the need of private in nature? To achieve encapsulation. What is encapsulation? Binding all the members and variables into that particular class and calling setters and getter method to access that. Okay, so this is called as encapsulation. So this is a part of a class. Any class that you are writing will have its members to be private in nature, and you will have setters and getters methods also. Can you see here? All the setters and getters methods are written here, right? Why they are writing setters and getters method? Because by using this setters method, you can set value to this object any point of time and get the values at any point of time. Person who is responsible for setting the values, only that person will get that value. Like for example, you are creating a Facebook account, so you will set the values and only you will get those values. It is not visible for anybody else. Okay, so that is the main intention of going for this setters and getters way. Okay, you might have seen, right? Your profile picture is visible to everybody, and how it is done? Because that profile picture field is alone, public in nature, right? Others are private in nature. Are you able to understand? You're able to get that difference, right? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So hope you understood the concept now. Okay, I'll go back and I will write in a different. I will not make it private. Okay, I will not make it private. I will make it public. Okay, POBLC. I'll remove all this so that only public way how we will use it we'll see. Okay. But best practice, what is the best practice? You should make them as private. Best practices, you should make them as private. Okay. Anywhere in your project, right? If you means I don't have permission to show my project, in my project also how it is implemented is the same way. Okay. Now, now can you see this? I will remove this also. I will remove this also. Now see, I have a Meesho application or Meesho class, which is having only some 4 parameters, and again all of them are public in nature. All of them are public in nature. Now what I want to do, I don't want to worry about who will access it or who will not access, because public means anybody can access. If I'm giving public as the thing, anybody can access. No need to write getters and setters. No need to write getters and setters for this, because anybody can access it from anywhere. Okay, a class which is having some members, if all the members are private or default, anybody can access it. There is no restriction. You are not giving any restriction for it. Now for this also, now if you feel to generate a constructor, because if you have a class, if you want to create object of Meesho, if somebody wants to create object of Meesho, right? I'll come back to this, and here I want to create object of Meesho. Okay, like Girish wants to use it. So he is having all this data with him. He wants to create an object. But is it possible now? Because it is not possible now because Meesho is not having any constructor. Is not having any constructor. If you want to create an object, you should have a constructor in this. Okay. So if I don't have a constructor, then you cannot call with arguments like this. You cannot call with arguments. Directly you can call like this. Meesho Girish is equal to new Meesho. Why just Meesho? Because if you don't have any constructors, if you don't have any constructors in a class, by default, there will be a constructor called as a default constructor. That is like this. If you don't write also, compiler will write it like this. Meesho. It will create a constructor like this. It will create a constructor like this. It will already create a constructor for you like this. It will be there. Okay. So now you can go and create object of Meesho here. Like you are calling this. Okay. But these values are not initialized. No, these values are not initialized. To initialize these values, you should use a constructor. To initialize these values, you should use a constructor. But as of now, values are not initialized. So if you're trying to print these values, right? Say Girish dot username. You're printing Girish dot username. So here you can access it. Why you can access it? Because these are public in nature. You can access it from anywhere. If it is private, here you cannot access. Either you have to call getter method to access it here. Okay. And now it is public. I can use it anywhere. So if I run it, here I'll get null again. Why I'll get null again? Because there is no value for it. There is no value set for it. Correct? Meesho, I'm just calling a constructor. So constructor is called but these values are not initialized. These values are not initialized. So in Java, they have provided one more option in Eclipse. Go to source, and here you have a method called, here you have something called as generate constructors using fields. Can you see this? Generate constructors using fields. If you click on it, it will automatically show you all the fields. Okay, these are the fields you have. Do you want to create a constructor? Yeah, you want to create. Whether it should be public? Yes, it should be public. So you can go and just click on generate. Can you see here? Automatically it created a constructor with arguments. You don't want to write it. Your compiler will write it for you, right? Your Eclipse will write it for you. It has written it beautifully. A Misho constructor, which is having username, email, phone number, and your password. And it has done all this, right? Automatically it has done for you. And it is also calling this super off, correct? Here in the first line, it is calling super off. I'll explain you what is the super off also, but it is, if you write it or not write it, this will be called. Okay, here they have written it. If you don't write it also, the super off will be called. Okay, don't worry, I will explain you what is that super off. Okay, so I'll keep it just like that. Now, what is the difference it is bringing now? I have one constructor without any arguments. I have a constructor with arguments, which is initializing all these values. It is there. So from my main method, I can go and call Misho with values. You can call Misho with values. Okay. Now I want to pass only the username. I want to pass only the username. I don't want to pass any other details. Any other details I don't want to pass. Then what happens is you can also create one more constructor in your Misho. Okay. You can create one more constructor in Misho, which is having only username. Only username. How to do that? Go to source, click on generate constructor from fields, and here you select only username. Only username you select, and then generate. So that you'll see here. Now Misho is a constructor which is having only one argument called as username. It is also constructor. Only what this constructor is doing, it is initializing only username. Now, if you go back to your main class, now super, it is working now. Can you see? Now, if you run it, you will get that Giri printed automatically. Can you see? Now it is setting Giri. Okay, there is one constructor which is taking only one argument. Okay, here can you see the constructor which is taking only one argument? You can write constructor which is taking two arguments also. You can write constructor which is taking two arguments also. What you have to do? You have to disable the other two and generate it. Now here you can pass, while you are creating the object, you can pass two arguments. One is username and other one is email ID, whatever email ID, g@gmail.com. That's it, g@gmail.com. So what is this doing now? Now this is calling a constructor which is having two arguments. Means, what is the meaning? One class can have any number of constructors. One class can have any number of constructors. Okay, it can have one argumented constructor. It is having two argumented constructor. It can have three argumented constructor. It can have any number of argumented constructors. There is no rule that constructor should be always with all the arguments. There is no rule. You can create constructor, you can call constructors of any argument. So these constructors are called as overloaded constructors. Okay, we call it as overloading. Means same name of the constructor, name of the constructor is same. Here also Misho, here also Misho, here also Misho, and here also Misho, right? Name of the constructor is same, but arguments are different. Here two arguments, here one argument, here four arguments, here no argument. So this is called as constructor overloading. Means there are so many constructors with the same name, but arguments are different. Arguments are different. In your interview, very important question: what is constructor overloading? What is constructor overloading? What is constructor overloading? Can anybody repeat with me or tell me what is constructor overloading? A constructor overloading is nothing but one class which is having multiple constructors by same name but different arguments, right? Like there can be four argumented constructor, there can be two argumented constructor, there can be no argumented constructors, there can be any number of constructors. So here what I'm trying to do, or this phenomena is called as, or this concept is called as overloading. Okay, as we are doing using constructors, we call it as constructor overloading. Are you able to understand what is constructor overloading? Whenever you have a class, right? Whenever you are having one class and you have different constructors written with different arguments, here four arguments are there, here no arguments is there, here only one argument, here two arguments. There are multiple constructors. So here you can also, it's your wish. See here while calling, right? You can create object without any argument. This is also correct. Now Girish is having no arguments. Now you can create a new object. New object here you can pass one argument also. Say I'll have Girish 1. I'll pass only one argument called as name. Just name I will pass. Okay, next time I will create one more object. Next time I'll create one Misho object only. But here I can pass two arguments. I can pass email also. Can pass email also, right? Now in the next constructor, I can pass all the four also. Next, I can pass all the four. It's my wish, right? However I want, I can create the object. So this is called as constructor overloading. What is constructor overloading? You understood, right? Okay. Now what I will do is I will go to this constructor and here I will write one system.out.println. Okay, system.out.println empty constructor is called. Okay. How many times this empty instructor will be called? Let us see. Okay, so here how many times you are creating one object with empty constructor? Only one time you are calling, right? Only one time you are calling. So if you run this, your output also will have empty constructor called. One time empty constructor will be called. Okay. Now tell me why it is printing a username as null, because you are calling an empty constructor. There you are not initializing anything. With that reference, Girish reference you are printing. So you are getting an empty object. If you print it with any of these Girish 1, 2, 3, you will get some data. Say for example 1, 2, 3. If you pass 1, you will get this data. Okay. So run it. You can see that data you got. Okay. So it depends on which object you are passing here. Understood? Any doubt in this? When constructor will be called? Whenever you are calling this Misho Girish is equal to new Misho of. This is nothing but calling the constructor. Creating the object is nothing but calling the constructor. If you're calling the constructor, means indirectly what you're doing, you're creating the object. Okay, so direct meaning you can think of, right? You're calling a constructor is nothing but you're creating an object. Both are same. Creating a object is nothing but calling a constructor. Okay, let us come back and see what next. Okay, now you understood what is Pojo, right? If somebody comes and asks you, hey, what is Pojo? You tell them Pojo is a class in which all the members will be declared as private and respective setters and getters methods will be written in that class. Okay, and this is to demonstrate encapsulation in Java. What is encapsulation in Java? All the members of a class are bound to that particular class. So for example, you can say I will make all the members of a class as private and I will write getters and setters. So nobody else can access those members. It is only reserved for that class. Or those who create an object of that class should set the value first and then get the value. Who is setting the value is only allowed to get the values. Nobody else can get the value. So that is the total understanding that you should have in terms of POJO. Okay, what is instance variable? So this is also a good question that they will ask. Okay, what is instance variable? What do you mean by instance variable? Can anybody tell me what is instance variable? Okay, if you consider this class, right? If you consider this class, do you have any instance variables here? Do you have any instance variables here? Yes. Any variable which is present inside the class, right? Inside the class, these variables like username, email, phone number, and password, these are called as instance variables because a variable which is present inside a class outside any method. Inside a class, but outside any method, we call that variable as instance variable. A very important interview question. What is the difference between local variable and instance variable? Okay, if you want to note it down, note it down. In your interview, it will be a definite question for freshers. What is the difference between instance variable and local variable? What is instance variable? Any variable which is inside the class. Can you see here? So this is a Misho class, right? In this Misho class, you have these variables, these variables. You see, it is inside this class, right? Misho is a class. It is inside. All these variables are inside this class, right? So this variables are called as instance variables because these are not present inside any method. It is not present inside any method. So these are called as instance variables. Okay, how to differentiate local variables? Okay, imagine now I have a main method. Inside this, if I go and declare some variable called as int a is equal to 5 or string username is equal to Girish. So something like this, if I declare, right, this value will now become a will become and username will become local variables. Why local variables? It is present inside a class and also inside a method. If it is present inside a method, this variable is called as local variable. If it is present inside the class and outside any method, that variable is called as instance variable. Say for example, so if you have a variable like this, so this is called as instance variable. What is this pi? Pi is nothing but a instance variable. Are you able to understand? Pi is nothing but instance variable. Sorry, I have to give you. Okay. This pi is instance variable. This is local variable. That is the difference. Okay. So in your interview, you should be very careful in answering. Any variable which is inside the class and outside a method, we call this as instance variable. If it is inside the class, inside the method, we call that as local variables. Okay. Done. And what next? What is instantiation of a class? What is instance or how to instantiate a class? What is instantiation? Instantiation is nothing but creating an object. Okay. So here, if I am writing a line called as Misho M is equal to new Misho of this line, what I'm doing is I'm creating object. I'm creating object. Okay. By calling the constructor, I am creating the object. This process is called as instantiation. Okay. Maybe spelling is wrong, but yeah. So what is instantiation? Creation of an object for a given class is called as instantiation. Okay. And here, what is set method and get method, you know, right? What are setter method and getter method? If you want to set any value to the private members, we use set method. And if you want to get any value of a private member, we use something called as get method. Okay. So how to generate it? Your Eclipse will automatically have an option to generate setters and getter method. I will just go and generate it there. Okay. And how to call a method? Now tell me, how do you call a method or how do you call a constructor? How do you call a method or a constructor? By writing its name like Misho off, right? You'll write that small bracket. So that is nothing but calling the constructor. So you know what is a constructor? Constructor is a block, right, which is used when it is called, an object is created, right? What is a constructor? Constructor is a block which is used to initialize the variables present in that particular class. Okay. And what is the use of constructor? Yeah, it is used to initialize the members of the class. And what are the types of constructors? You can have any type of constructor, like one argumented constructors, empty constructor, with all the arguments, like overloading you can do. Okay. So types of constructor, there are two types. One is default constructor and parameterized constructor. Default constructor means if you don't write any constructor, automatically there is already one constructor called as default constructor. Okay. If you write one constructor, your compiler will not create another constructor. So that is called as like parameterized or user defined constructor. Okay, that we created and tested, right? I created a lot of overloaded constructors and we tested it. Okay. Then how heap size is allocated for objects which are getting created. I think the previous day I explained you, right? How this objects are getting created in the heap, and how heap size is allocated for created Java objects. So this is something that we will discuss now. And you know what is static keyword and why it is used, right? When you use static keyword, what happens, right? Like there is a separate memory formed called a static memory, and the values will be present there, and you can directly use class name to call that member, right? So those things we have already discussed, but this is the overall idea of you. Okay, I'll come to what is final and all this. Okay, don't worry as of now. If you get to know what is class, how to create an instance, how to create object, how to call a constructor, if you are able to understand this, then I am happy for today. Okay, so you are able to understand this, yes or no? Till now, till here you are all able to understand, right? Till here you are all able to understand, yes or no? Tell me that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, super. Okay, so now I'll tell you one small concept. Okay, small concept, and after that we'll wrap this session. Okay, what is that small concept? Is how one class is related to another class. How one class is related to another class. That relationship we'll understand. Then we will go for how these things are done. Maybe I'll tell you later, but we'll understand how this relationship is formed. One class to another class, how relationship is formed. We will understand it. Okay. So I will go here. Okay, let this be there. I will just delete all this data. Just I'll delete this data. I deleted it. Okay. So now imagine there is one class. I'll create a class called as I'll go create a class called as say Flipkart. Okay, Flipkart. Okay, now imagine Flipkart is one of the class that you have, like you are Misho, right? You have a Misho class, right? Similarly, you have some class called as Flipkart class, and there is one more class called as, maybe you can go and generate one more class, new class called as Amazon. Amazon. Okay, Amazon. Now, what is common in all these classes? Tell me, what is common in all these classes? Flipkart, Amazon, Misho. What is common? What is common? These fields are common, right? These fields are common. These fields are very much common, right? So what I will do is I will change them as private, make them as private, or you can choose to be public also. Means I don't want to tell it should be only private, but the best practice is to have it private. Okay, you can keep it public also. It's your wish, but if you take the security part of it and all, it is better. You should have it as private. When you come to your organization and all, they will teach you why it should be private, and you must have to follow the coding standards. But in interview, if they ask you why should you write it private, you should tell them due to the security reasons. If a member is private in nature, that member cannot be used in any other classes, right? Nobody can access it directly in any other classes, right? That is the main advantage of going for private members. Okay. So what is common in Amazon, what is common in Flipkart, what is common in Meesho is these members. These members. Okay. So now what I will do, I will create. So I will think, or I will make some hierarchy. Okay, I will make some hierarchy to make you understand. Okay. So imagine all these are having same common members, right? Even Flipkart is having common member, Amazon is having common members, and Meesho is also having common members. If you have common members, like you don't want to declare in each of these classes. You don't want to declare these members in each of these classes. What you can do is you can have one parent class where you have all the members declared. Okay, say imagine I'll create one parent class called as e-commerce website. E-commerce. I don't, or give me some other name, maybe parent online shopping. Okay, there is a class called as parent online shopping class. Okay, so what you can do is you can go and have this as a parent class. Okay, so you see here what I'm having is you have parent online shopping class. Only one class is there in which all these members I have written, and what I will do here is I will remove all these from the child class. I will make this all this as child classes. Means I have one parent class for all the other shopping websites, that is parent online shopping website. Okay, so this is having username, mobile, and password. So why I'm doing this is to avoid code repetition. Everywhere I don't want these variables to be repeatedly present. So what I will do, I will choose this as one common place called as parent online shopping. So I have all these members in one class. So what I will do, I will make other classes as child. Means if I have this Meesho, right? Here I will write a statement called as extends. I'll write a statement called as extends parent online shopping. So what does it mean now? Meesho is a child of this parent online shopping. So there is a keyword called as extends. If I write extends, it means Meesho will become child of this parent online shopping. Parent online shopping. Now this Meesho is a child of this. Okay, so what I should do again, I should go to Flipkart also and make it like extends online shopping, parent online shopping. So everywhere you find similarities, you go and extends and shop. Done. So my work is done. So I have only one class where I have these members. Now these members are present in all these classes. Meesho also you have those members. Flipkart also you have those members. Amazon also you have those members present. What is the proof? How do you get to know whether they are present or not? Let us see. I'll go to main method. Now what I will do, I will create object of Amazon. Okay, so just observe. I will create object of Amazon. Amazon A is equal to new Amazon. New Amazon. Now tell me, can I call a dot some member? Yes. Can you see username is present, phone number is present, password is present, everything is present here. Correct now? Everything is present. How it is present here? Because I'm not having those members in Amazon, no? See, if you go and see in Amazon, those members are not present. But still, here I am able to get those members. How I am able to get those members is by using this concept called as inheritance. Okay, so parent class members are now present in my class. Whatever my parent had, all that is present with me also. With me also. Okay, so what I will do here is maybe I can create a constructor here. I will create a constructor here because if I print it now, here, if I do system.out.println, if I print it a dot username, obviously you will get null value, correct? No, obviously you'll get null value because there is no value set for username. If you run it, you will get null value, right? Now, how to avoid this? Go to your Amazon class, then go to source, and here generate setters and getters. Okay, it says option is not applicable, but current selection of fields. Okay, so it says, hey, here you don't have fields only, correct? No, here you don't have any fields. Then how will you create objects, right? So creation of object here is not possible because say, Amazon is one class where it has nothing in it. It has no attributes in it, right? Flipkart is a class which has no attributes in it. Even Meesho is a class which has no attributes in it. You have parent class which has attributes in it, correct? So I will go here and create source, generate setters and getters. I'll select all of them and generate both getters and setters, and I will click on this. Now I have these things already present in my variable. So what I can do now is I can go and initially set the value. I need to set the value. So I will call set username method. Set username method. And here I'll pass some username, say Girish. Right. I don't want to print it. It's a setter method. So I'll just set it, then I will get it. Calling setter method. So now I set that value as Girish. Now I can call system.out.println a.get username. Now if I run this, now Amazon also is able to have Girish, right? So you might have observed, right? By using one Gmail account, you are able to log into multiple other accounts. Like Flipkart also, you can log in by Gmail. You can log into Amazon also by using Gmail. You can log into Meesho also by the Gmail. You can log into Facebook also by Gmail. Any other websites you can log in by Gmail, right? Now here, if you have a parent class, right? If you have one parent class and if you make them, means ideally this should be private in nature, but for your understanding, I am also making it public. So what you can do, you can have one parent class. Using this parent class, you can log into all these applications at once. All this usage of all these applications are also possible. So that is what I am trying to say. At one place, I am placing all this and as a parent, and this parent I am inheriting in all the classes. See, Meesho extends parent, Flipkart extends parent, Amazon extends parent. So all the members present in this is now present in Amazon also. That's why I'm able to get this details here in the main, and I'm running. I'm able to set it and get those details. Okay, so you are able to understand this. But if it is private in nature, you cannot achieve like this. If it is public in nature, you can achieve. But if it is private, it is very secure. It is very like a good way to do that. Okay, so do like encapsulated programming is very recommended way in Java. Okay, if you make it public, it means it is visible to everybody. Anybody can access your data anywhere. So this should not happen. Okay, so typically this should not happen. You should write it as setter gettered way only. Okay. I don't want to tell everything together. So maybe today I will stop here. So you go back and you see what are the problems in the window. So what I will do is I'll spend some time in understanding what are the problems present so that you will not face any difficulty in solving it. So please observe it for 15 minutes because I will solve some problems here, or I will tell you hint how to solve this problem so that you will not face any difficulty while solving these problems. That is the main intention. Why this is not logging in? Anybody is not able to log into eBox platform, or you are able to log in? I don't know. I'm not able to log in. Okay, maybe I'm not able to log into this. Okay, others are able to log in. Can you please confirm you're able to log in?
Yes, sir. We are able to log in. Yes, sir.
Okay. Can anybody share your screen so that I can explain you there? So will not have any confusion. Can anybody share your screen? Yeah. You just share your screen. Open the first problem. Yeah, anyone can open the screen. No problem. I will not. Is this
Constructor topic questions are not given, sir.
oh, this classes and objects is not enabled for you, is it?
No, sir.
No, no problem, no problem. So I'll ask them to enable. Maybe I'm not able to log into it due to some